A man who talks too much. He spills his power with every word. A man who begs for approval. He carves out his own weakness, one desperate plea at a time. The world is drowning in noise, filled with men tripping over themselves just to be noticed, shouting into the void, hoping someone, anyone, will validate their existence. But the ones who truly shape the world, you won't hear them coming. They don't seek permission. They don't announce their presence. They build in silence. And when they move, the ground shakes. A Stoic man does not parade himself like a fool. He does not shrink himself to fit into the expectations of weaker men. He walks with purpose, knowing his value, needing no applause. His strength is in his restraint. His power is in his presence. He doesn't waste words. When he speaks, people listen, and when he acts, the world takes notice, because his moves are deliberate, his silence is deafening, and his discipline is unbreakable. You want to be that man. Then burn this into your mind. Power is not claimed through noise. It is forged in solitude, in struggle, in the fire of self-mastery. The disciplined man, the one who sharpens himself like a blade, who moves with precision, who does not chase but attracts, he is the one who holds the reins of his own fate. And if you're ready to become that man in 2025, listen carefully. This isn't another feel-good speech. This isn't motivation for the weak. This is war strategy. A blueprint for those who refuse to be soft, who refuse to live at the mercy of the world. You want to move differently, think differently, command respect without begging for it? Then lock in. Before we begin, like, comment, and subscribe, not as a favor to me, but as a commitment to yourself, because if you're here, you already know this is what you've been needing. Let's go. Number 1. Stop handing people the map to your life. The more you explain yourself, the more you drain the very essence of your power. Every time you lay your vision bare, you invite the vultures, the critics, the doubters, the dream killers. You hand them your most sacred blueprint and let them tear at it with their insecurities and fears. You're not just giving away your plan, you're handing them the weapon to destroy it. That's not strength, that's self-sabotage. You're sacrificing your future at the altar of their approval. Marcus Aurelius didn't spend his time justifying his choices to the world. He didn't explain himself, didn't waste a second seeking validation. His empire didn't need his explanations. His actions spoke for him. When he wrote, it was for his own soul. When he led, it was with a silent, unstoppable force. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. That's it. He didn't beg for recognition. He didn't need anyone's permission. He lived by his standards, not the crowd's. He didn't show them his cards, and he didn't ask for their opinions. He simply was. Understand this. True power is never loud. It's not a carnival of words or a parade of justifications. It's quiet. It's steady. It's relentless. And when you start explaining your every move, you weaken that power. You let their doubts creep in, steal your focus, dilute your fire. You let the world's noise drown out your own inner voice. And once that happens, you've already lost. The strongest men who've ever walked this earth, the ones who shaped history, never had to ask, "Do you think I should?" They didn't beg for approval. They didn't waste their time asking for validation. They were too busy carving their names into the fabric of time. They moved in silence, letting their actions speak louder than words ever could. Take a moment and think about it. Who are the men we remember the most? The warriors, the kings, the emperors, the visionaries. They weren't explaining their every step to anyone. They didn't care about being understood. They didn't need to be liked. They didn't justify their every move. They simply did. And the world followed, because power doesn't need validation. It doesn't wait for applause. It just is. Every time you seek approval, you're weakening your core. Every time you bend and break under the weight of someone else's expectations, you're digging your own grave. Stop handing people the keys to your life. Stop giving them the map to your journey. They don't deserve to know your plans, your dreams, or your path. Your vision is yours alone, and it will remain strong and pure as long as you guard it. The moment you start explaining, justifying, and asking for permission, you lose. You lose control of your destiny, and you hand it over to others who have no understanding of your struggle, your grind, your sacrifices. Those who question you don't see the fire burning inside of you. They don't understand what you're willing to sacrifice to make it happen. They don't know your inner turmoil, the battles you fight in the quiet hours when no one is watching. What they see is surface level, and that's all they will ever understand. And it's not their fault, but it is your fault if you let them shape your life. So stop. Move in silence. Let the results speak. Let your actions tear down walls, build empires, and change the course of your life. Stop giving away your power. You were not born to be a puppet on someone else's strings. You were born to break free and create something that doesn't need to explain itself. The next time you catch yourself explaining, justifying, or waiting for permission, stop. Recognize it for what it is. A surrender of your strength. Keep your plans to yourself. Move in silence. Let the world catch up to you, not the other way around. Because real power doesn't need to scream. It just is. And when it's time, the world will know. Number 2. Social media is mind poison. Limit your exposure. Attention is the most addictive drug ever created. It rots the mind, weakens the soul, and turns men into beggars, starving for scraps of validation from strangers who wouldn't spit on them if they were on fire. The weak chase it like a dying man gasping for air. The strong reject it, immune to the highs of praise and the lows of ridicule. Every time you seek approval online, you hand over the reins to your emotions. You rise when they clap. You crumble when they boo. Your mood is at the mercy of faceless nobodies, your self-worth tied to numbers on a screen. That's not power, that's enslavement. A cage without bars, but a cage nonetheless. A Stoic does not beg for applause. He does not dance for attention like a street performer hoping for coins. He works in silence, far from the circus of opinion, crafting himself into something undeniable. He does not post his struggles. He does not broadcast his pain. He absorbs every hit, every wound, every hardship, and turns it into unshakable strength. Seneca warned of the dangers of the crowd, of letting the opinions of others dictate your mind. He knew that the man who craves approval is a prisoner of those who grant it. A puppet on strings. But the one who stands firm, silent, unmoved, terrifies the world. They cannot control him, they cannot sway him, and that is why they hate him. Social media is not just a distraction. It is a slow poison, corroding your focus, your dignity, your sense of self. It twists your mind until you live for attention, like a starving dog waiting for scraps at the table. You scroll endlessly, looking for a hit of dopamine, while your dreams gather dust in the corner. You trade real moments for digital illusions. You let algorithms shape your thoughts, hijack your time, steal your peace. You want to be powerful, then disappear. Starve the beast. Refuse to be a puppet for the masses. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them talk. But give them nothing. Work in the dark, build in silence, and when the time comes, let your success be so loud they choke on it. Number 3. Protect your mind like a fortress. A weak man's mind is an open field, trampled by anyone who passes through. He lets the world in, every voice, every opinion, every demand. He absorbs their worries, their gossip, their chaos. He becomes a man without walls, without borders, without control. A man owned by the noise around him, but a strong man. His mind is walled off like a citadel, impenetrable, untouchable, unshaken. Not just anyone is granted entry. Not every fool gets a response. Not every distraction earns his time. His thoughts belong to him and him alone. Because if you do not rule your mind, the world will. The world is full of thieves, not of gold, but of attention, merchants of nonsense, parasites of focus. They knock at your gates eager to pull you into their noise. Gossipers want you distracted. Weak men want you softened. The lost want you lost with them. They disguise their chaos as conversation, their distractions as entertainment, their foolishness as wisdom. And a weak mind opens the gates. A weak mind argues with fools. A weak mind absorbs every whisper, drowns in every rumor, bends under every stare. It spends its strength on what does not matter, on approval, on validation, on the opinions of people who have built nothing. A weak mind is a prisoner, shackled by the noise of the world. Epictetus knew this. He knew that freedom was not found in wealth or status, but in the discipline of the mind. He was born a slave, yet his mind was untouchable. His master could own his body, but never his thoughts. His power came from detachment, from denying fools his attention, from refusing to be pulled by the currents of weak men. He did not chase opinions. He did not beg for approval. He controlled what entered his mind like a warrior controls his blade. And that is what you must do. Guard your mind like a king guards his throne. Let fools gossip. Let the weak argue. Let the restless chase distractions. You vanish. You step back from the noise. You sharpen your thoughts into weapons. You learn to stand alone. You become the man who is never swayed, never scattered, never drained. They will call you cold, distant, arrogant. Let them. What they call cold is actually discipline. What they call distance is actually power. What they call arrogance is actually mastery. Because when the world comes knocking, begging for your attention, demanding your energy, the strong man doesn't answer. His mind is his own, and that is why he cannot be conquered. Number 4, let them think you are nothing, and then strike. A storm does not announce itself before it breaks the sky. A lion does not warn its prey before it pounces. And a man of discipline, a man of true power, does not beg to be seen. He waits, he builds, he becomes unstoppable. Let them overlook you, let them laugh, let them believe you are nothing. Their arrogance is their weakness. The Stoics knew this well. The wise man is unmoved by the opinions of the blind. While others boast, you refine your craft. While they waste their breath, you sharpen your mind. You do not react to insults, nor do you shrink from doubt. You hold your ground, unshaken like an immovable mountain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Let them mock you, let them dismiss you, give them nothing in return. No anger, no explanations, no wasted words. Instead, you forge yourself in the fire of discipline. You become so strong, so capable, that when your time comes, you do not just enter the arena, you dominate it." The greatest warriors in history did not roar before battle. They did not seek approval. They did not move for the crowd. They moved for victory, They let their steel speak. They let their actions carve their names into eternity, and so will you. Because when the right moment arrives, when fate finally cracks open its doors, you do not hesitate. You do not ask. You do not explain. You strike with such force, with such finality, that the world will never doubt you again. That is power. That is control. That is the way of the Stoic. Number 5. Walking away is the ultimate power move. Walking away isn't a simple action. It's an explosion of self-respect. It's a deep, unapologetic cut that leaves the world stunned and in silence. A weak man will stick around, begging for crumbs of respect, tolerating the disrespect that slowly erodes his spirit. He thinks he needs to stay, to fight for scraps, to prove himself worthy. But he's already lost, his dignity slipping like sand through his fingers. A strong man? He doesn't need to beg. He doesn't stay in toxic circles, trying to earn a place where he's never truly wanted. He walks away, and with every step, he sends a thunderous message that can't be ignored. His silence, his absence, is deafening. It's more powerful than any shout. It's the roaring ocean that says nothing but makes everything tremble in its wake. Walking away is not just an escape, it's a masterstroke of strength, a declaration of boundaries that cannot and will not be crossed. It's a choice to never settle for less than you deserve, to refuse to become someone's punching bag, to say enough with every bone in your body. When you leave, you're not just leaving a conversation, a relationship, or a situation. You're leaving behind the weight of the world's judgment, the burden of toxic expectations. You're choosing freedom, choosing to preserve your peace like a king protecting his throne. It's the most brutal truth. Walking away is the only way to gain true power. Epictetus understood this. He didn't just talk about controlling the things you can, he embodied it. He knew that your power lies in what you choose to hold on to, and what you choose to walk away from. He would have told you, don't waste your time arguing with people who don't respect you. Take that energy and build something worth having, something that fuels your soul and makes the world sit up and take notice. The moment you step away, you release a bomb of unshakable confidence into the air. People might never understand why you left, but they'll feel it. They'll feel the ground beneath them shift, because in your absence, you've commanded the room. They'll see the fire you ignited just by walking away, the fire that can never be extinguished by their words or their petty games. When you leave, you're not retreating. You're advancing toward your truth, your worth, your destiny. You're not letting anyone make you small. You're not asking for permission to exist. You are the storm, the one who walks with a quiet roar that breaks everything in its path. So when it's time, leave. Don't look back. Don't explain yourself. Don't apologize. Your silence will scream louder than any confrontation ever could. They'll wonder where you went, but you'll know. You'll know you just made the most powerful move of all, walking away and never looking back. 2025 isn't a year for empty words. It's the year for a quiet revolution, a time to erase the noise that drowns your purpose, to move in silence where only your actions scream louder than anything you've ever said. The world will doubt you, dismiss you, underestimate you. Let them. Their doubt is the fire that fuels your transformation. Their disbelief, the soil in which your greatness will root and rise. While they waste time speaking of dreams, you will be forging your reality. No grand announcements, no empty promises, just relentless work, unseen and unapologetic. When the moment comes, and you've become something greater than they could ever imagine, disappear, fade into the shadows. Let them wonder how you became a force that can't be ignored. A true Stoic man does not boast. He does not seek validation. He doesn't need applause. His power isn't declared, it is silently claimed, earned through grit, consistency, and the quiet intensity of his resolve. If you're ready to become that unstoppable force, hit like, comment, and subscribe. But don't just stand there. Close this video, shut the world out, step into your grind. Because this isn't about what you say, it's about who you become. And the world will know you when it's too late for them to catch up.